Hey, I am Tish. Welcome back to my page, Kingdom Beauty, where I discuss stories from the Bible. I discuss personal life stories. I interpret my own dreams, and I do occasional wig reviews and makeup videos. Thank you for joining me. This video is going to be about why I am leaving the education field and why I am not going to be teaching anymore. It's a dub. It's a wrap for that. You've seen it in the thumbnail. Toxic environment, terrible parents, terrible students, illegal activity, abuse, and a dream in which I feel like God confirmed that working with children is not the path. So keep watching and we are going to get into it. So I've been working with children for like 12 years. After about year 3, after year 3, I was already done with working with children. That means there's 9 years of me settling for working with children. I had started to just feel tired and bored with doing it, and I wanted to get more into administration. I could never get jobs in administration because all I knew was childcare. That's all my resume mainly had, and so I would always end up just kind of stuck in it. Then one day I kind of took it as maybe I'm supposed to just stick with childcare. Like, I started seeing how the longer I stayed in childcare, it's like the worse each job working with children became. A lot of them repeated the same behaviors and the same issues, but my feeling towards it became worse and worse and worse. Like the disdain for it just kind of grew. I started noticing major signs. Remember, I've worked with children for like 12 years. I'm only going to give examples from like the past 4 jobs. There was an after school job that I had, but I also had a teaching position there too. And that whole place was just raggedy. It was just raggedy. And it was things going on in leadership, and the school was in such a bad position that it's on the verge of being shut down. I mean, they weren't paying people like for consecutive pay periods in a row. That payroll was just not processing people's check, and the whole building would be in an uproar, right? So that place was just, I was like, whoa, God, like this ain't where I want to be. So I get another job where I was teaching full time. There's a teacher there that I witnessed abusing a child. Like, I'm talking about mental abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse. When I reported it, I believe the job kind of suspected that it was me, and they treated me like the bad guy for reporting it and tried to victimize the abuser, which was crazy. And so that's when I was like, yeah, no, and no. I moved to Houston. It was the worst teaching job I ever had in my whole entire life. My whole entire life. This center, which was in a federal building, mind you, was operating illegally out of ratio, right? In Texas, the ratio for 3K, which is what I taught, is preschool, was 1 to 15. Even that's a lot. They would have me with 2 classes by myself every single day. That's literally up to 30 students alone. No help. Supervisors, directors rather, they would just be sitting in their office doing the bare minimum and would only step in if they absolutely felt like they had to. And that was never. The whole building was out of ratio, but I always had it the worst because I would be with literally 30 children by myself. And mind you, it would be like 5 to 6 teachers in the common area room with just a few kids at the end of the day, and I'm the only teacher in the classroom with like 30, and I'm like, nobody gonna come back here to help me? I dealt with that for a while, and I think they took advantage because I couldn't just quit because I had just relocated to Texas. Like, I needed some income to pay rent, and so I kind of dealt with it for a while, but it was stressing me out, and the parents were complete pushovers. They did not control their children at all. And so the children Therefore, they were terrible, bro. They were terrible. I had enough. I would have panic attacks at work in the middle of the class in front of all the kids because of the stress levels. Like, I felt like I was having heart palpitations, and a lot of times I would have to stop in the classroom and just kind of hold my chest and do that. Eventually, I kind of abandoned the job. One day, I think I quit on a Friday, to be exact. Let me see. Let me go to my calendar. Oh, I quit on a Thursday. I was supposed to show up to work one morning, and I was really done. I couldn't bring myself to step foot in the building. I couldn't. One morning, I was supposed to be at work, right? Supposed to be at work at like 9. I sent them an email at 5 in the morning saying that I was quitting, effective immediately, and I told them exactly why I was quitting. I said, due to high stress and little help. 1 week later, I got another job working with children. I don't want to work with children anymore, but if that's all I can get and I have rent to pay, let me deal with it for now until another job outside of childcare gives me a chance. So I just went and applied to another school. I got another job a week later, right? Tell me why. Tell me why. I start this new job day one, like my first full day working, right? We have a professional development meeting. We go to this meeting, all hell broke loose in this meeting in front of me as a new hire. So the principal of the school said she wanted to, she was a new principal too. She said she wanted to just kind of give the floor for everyone to clear out the air, because I guess there was just like some tension and work drama that was happening. The teachers didn't like the way things were since the old principal had left, and they didn't like another teacher getting a promotion that they felt like that teacher didn't deserve, because that teacher had just lost a kid the day before she got a promotion, and they feel like she got it because she was of a certain race. And so they all were ganging up on that teacher. That teacher started crying. There was arguments happening between that teacher and some of the other teachers. The assistant principal stood up and gave her 2 weeks notice verbally in front of everyone. Everyone was crying. They started talking about how the former principal who was let go, she hired in a very unethical way 2 people that she knew personally to drive the school vans. Both of them had suspended licenses, and in fact, one of them, thankfully, on the day when the kids were not on the bus, they was driving a van, mind you, with a suspended license, and crashed it. All of this is being told to me as a new freaking employee, as a new teacher, and I'm just like, now at that time I already felt God calling me back home to New York, so I was just taking that like, okay, God, you're clearly telling me go back home. I said, God, there's a reason these things keep happening. Like, the same situations are repeating themselves, right? I go back to New York. Of course, I get another teaching job because it's just what I can have right now for income, right? It's my current teaching job. The parents are entitled. They are snooty, they are rude, they are condescending, because it's in a expensive neighborhood, right, where it's not a lot of people that look like me. Their children, because of the type of school it is, I don't agree with the policies. There's not a lot of structure for discipline. It's not a lot of freedom for you to manage your classroom the way that you want, even down to the way that your classroom looks. We're not even allowed to put anything on the walls. Like the policies is just allow the children to have their way. They run the classroom, and when they are acting up, you can literally do nothing about their behavior but try to talk them out of it. You can't do timeouts. You can't use stickers as incentives. They consider it bribery. It's so many things. Like, the kids run the classroom, right? And if you dare try to put some structure and order in your classroom, you could be fired, because it literally has happened to 2 teachers that were in the classroom before I got there. They were fired because people didn't like. The parents were complaining about how they had the room structured. Mind you, when those 2 teachers were managing the classroom as they were, there were way less behavior issues, crazy, right? But the schools cater to the parents. And so I had a parent speak to me like I was a child, and I was going to say something. The school was begging me not to, because they cater to the parents. Like, they kiss the parents' butts, because at the end of the day, it's all about $1. So if the parent's not happy, they pull their child, it's less money. And so I've witnessed the regional director of this school falsified documents stating that a child in my class was eligible for a gifted program when I know she's not. Like, I know she's not. The curriculum barely teaches them anything, and because the kids run the classroom, they get to do whatever they want all day. If they choose to not do a lesson, they don't have to. They can play. So they're not really learning anything, because we get in trouble for even forcing them. It's a lot. So now we're setting the kids up for failure, because she's going to go on to a higher level of education. They're going to put her in this gifted program, and that child is going to know nothing that will qualify her to stay there. It's like we setting these kids up for failure because the parents get to have their way. It's crazy. It's crazy. And so when you witness the regional director doing something like that, I'm like, it's a no. It really is a no with the job. And then there's a lot of other things happening with the job that just make me look at leadership sideways. They are a struggling center. All the teachers there are new, only been there for a couple of months, because it's a high turnover. There was a girl I was training with, she quit her first week. Like, I said, God, I cannot keep being put in these situations. Like, it's ridiculous. I started to misinterpret what I felt like God was doing. I was like, well, maybe God have me in all of these terrible schools because he wants me to make a difference in environments like this. You know how when you can really feel God pulling you out of something? I could really start to sense that, no, I've been interpreting this incorrectly. I think God's starting to show me this is in fact where I do not belong. I continue to pursue working with kids, not just because it was an easy income, but because one day in church, my pastor was like, oh, you know, we will have a school and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, that's why God had me stuck with childcare, because I'm probably supposed to be a teacher in this school when they have it. Complete misinterpretation. In fact, I had a dream one day where I asked God to give me a sign to make it be clear if I'm supposed to keep working with children. In this dream, I dreamt that I went to a previous job of mine where I worked with children. And when I was in the building, I felt so uncomfortable being there. It's like I didn't want to run into certain people. And then I didn't even see anybody that I knew except for one person. So it felt strange being there, and in a sense, I felt out of place. Then I was there to sing on a youth praise and worship team. I don't sing. So that's out of place for me too. Then I was waiting in a crowd, in the audience with everyone else, to be called up on stage for the praise and worship team. When the youth praise and worship team was called up on stage, I seen all of the youth praise and worship team going on to the stage from the side of the stage, and I'm the only one sitting in the crowd coming up from the seats. And I was like, what? Why am I not with the rest of this group? Out of position. I go on the stage. I was the only one who did not have a working microphone. Out of position. When I left, I had a pink scooter, and it seemed like it belonged to like a 4-year-old, and my big grown self was on this scooter. I was like, no, this don't feel right. I'm too grown. Why do I even have a scooter in the first place? I don't know where I was bringing it to while I had a little girl's scooter. This is out of place for me to have. Out of position. That's like 4 or 5 signs in this dream that I was out of position when it came to things that concerned children. And I felt like God was telling me, yeah, you working with children is you being out of position. I felt like that confirmed it, but when I had the dream, it really wasn't clear to me. And I feel like it's clear to me now. I'm done. I have no joy working with children. I dread going to any job in a school where I have to teach and work with children. Like, I literally dread it. I have no passion for it anymore. I don't even have patience for working with children anymore. There's no joy. there is no joy there. What God gives us, when it's truly from God, there's going to be joy, meaning we enjoy it whether it's a good day or a bad day. I have no joy. And so I just kind of wanted to have this moment with other teachers, especially teachers of the Christian faith, to just have this moment to say, hey, you're not alone, and how you feel about it. If you have a video, like if you do YouTube and you have your own video explaining your teaching journey and coming out of it, like, ooh, please link it in the comments, because I want to watch it. I've been going on a binge of watching a bunch of people's testimonies about leaving the education field, and so I want to see it. Thank you guys for watching my video. It's over 20 minutes. It's 21 minutes, and I'm gonna try to get it down to at least just 15. I will see you guys in the next video.